Hello, happy stampers. I just bumped my camera, so it's wiggling. There we go. This is Kate with Kate's Paper Creations, here to share with you a Christmas card. Yay! It's October 15th that this is going up. And I'm trying to get a few more. I'm in Christmas mode. I've gone through my fall stuff. I just sent out 30 fall cards. That is done. Here I am with Christmas. Moving on. Okay. Maybe I'll throw in some others along the way for other things like your typical thank you, birthday, thinking of you cards, but my focus has turned to Christmas. Here's the card we're going to make today. It features the wonderful snowflakes embellishments. They are iridescent on one side, white on the other, and they're just punch outs. I am going to be using the rectangle stitched rectangle. I don't remember which way it's supposed to be, but the dies for that. The sentiment I'm using today comes from the hand-penned petals. Nope, this was in my stack for a reason. Oh, takes me a minute to think. For the scalloped die, I'm going to be using the scalloped die from hand-penned petals. And from Whimsical Trees, I'm going to be using the sentiment that says, let your heart be light. So that's what I'm using there. My colors here, the DSP is Tidings of Christmas. And remember, DSP stands for Designer Series Papers, but we get tired of saying all those words. So we just say DSP, okay? So DSP is Tidings of Christmas. The base card is basic white thick. And I'm going to be using some pearls. The smallest of the pearls, I believe, are 3mm, which have been colored with dark Cherry Cobbler blends pen. And let's see, what else might you need to know? I think that's about it. Let's get busy, and I'll show you how I did this. I'm just going to show you because I've already run it through. I took this die and some washi tape, and I did the sides first, and I set it down, and you can kind of see I just got it as close to the edge as I could, and then I taped it in place with washi tape, and I ran it through my Stampin' Cut Emboss. Then I turned it around and did the other side, and I planned it so that my scallops would match, you know, start at the top and have a full scallop at the top. Then, oh, and I did it to both pieces at the same time. I folded my card and I ran it through so it cut both the front and the back so everything lines up perfectly, okay? And then I did the same with this top bottom edge. Now it's a little bit tricky to get this bottom edge corners, these corners to look good. I just did it and then I just kind of trimmed them, and I'm happy with it. I think it looks really nice. I hope you like it too, and it's got the beautiful stitching. And what's fun is when you open it, yes, it's the inside of the stitching, and then of course the back isn't critical. So, you know, what was important to me was to get those edges so they all matched, and there was no way I was going to try and do them one section at a time. So I folded my card, ran it through with both layers, and it cut it perfectly. Okay, so that's how I made my base card. Excuse me. Then for my Designer Series paper sections, I cut 3 pieces, and I just picked different designs. It doesn't matter which 3 you choose. It's up to you. But from that paper, I chose the 3 different designs. And the bigger pieces are cut using the rectangle die that is 1 1/4 by 3 1/4. That's this size. Okay. Then the smaller size uses the die that is 7/8 by 2 7/8. And then this last one, which was for the sentiment, it's the 1/2 inch by 2 die. So that you know what dies I am using. Then I also used, which I didn't tell you yet, the holly border punch. And I punched out some from soft succulent cardstock. I punched out 3. Well, I punched out a bunch, but I'm using 3 of these little holly shapes as well. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is just attach these smaller pieces to the bigger pieces. Let me get my Stampin' Seal here, and we'll keep this up in the corner over here. So I put this really pretty little white with red adornments. Try and get my tape to work again. Here we go. And I'm going to put it on this darkest piece. It needed to be lightened up, and it's just centered, top to bottom, right to left. It's just centered on there. There's that piece. Then this one, I put the dark pattern on. Love the contrast. And again, just centered, left to right, top to bottom. Let's hope my sound is working. I'm going to just check it here real quick. Oh, it's supposed to be blinking, and it's not. Let's see. Okay, my volume might not have been on. I might not have had my mic working when we started this video, so you may have some silence at the beginning. Don't give up on me. I was sharing how I made the base card. It is basic white thick, and I used the die from the hand-pinned petals, and I folded it and cut it with both sides in at the same time, or the whole card. And so I just put it on as close to the edge as I could get it, washi taped it in place and ran it through, did the sides first, and then I did the bottom. And I'm repeating this because I know my video was probably messed up for my volume. And now, and then I did across the bottom like that. And then I trimmed the corners. If they looked a little funky, I just trimmed them to make them look good, and I felt like they did. And then when you open it up, it still looks really pretty, and it all fits together. And so that's the basic card. Then I am running these through, and I used the stitched rectangle dies, and the larger piece is 1 1/4 by 3 1/4. The smaller piece that I'm mounting is the 7/8 by 2 7/8 die, and I'm just attaching them to each other with Stampin' Seal. And I'm centering them from side to side and top to bottom, just like that. And then those are going to go on the front of the card, and they're just going to go on flat with Stampin' Seal. And I'm going to put it together the same way. Okay, let me get the sticky off my fingers that I don't want, so I can have sticky where I do want it. There we go. And I'd say they're a little over, maybe a little over 1/4 of an inch from the inside edge, centered between the dotted or the stitched line and the top of the card. And get it where I want it. I think that's going to work right there. So there's number 1. Then I'm going to put the one on the other side. I don't know if any of you are having this issue with your Stampin' Seal. If you are and you figured out what I'm doing wrong, I'd love to hear from you. Okay, and then I'm going to do this one the same, and just in maybe 3/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch, centered from top to bottom. I think that's going to be just about right there. And then the last one will go in the center. Put that piece of tape out of the way. And here it's doing it again. Okay. I'll try not to talk to myself when I'm doing this. Okay. And then this one's going to go in the center, just evenly spaced between the other two, and lined up with the top and the bottom. Let's move that over just a little bit. There, I'm happy with that. Okay, so there's that part. Then I took the snowflake, and I used the iridescent side up, and I just put it on with a glue dot. Get me a glue dot here. And stick it right in the center. That's the only glue I put on that, and I just centered it, and you can decide how you want your snowflake to be, if you want to kind of off-center it or whatever. But I'm putting mine right there. Then I stamped the sentiment. With Evening Evergreen. Nice, bold, dark color. Stands out very, very well. And so we'll get that on here. See if I can do it right. Ah, sometimes I'm just lucky. That looks just fine. Okay, I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of this. And I'm going to put this on just kind of right about in here. Just like that. Could cover up more of the snowflake or less. It's up to you. Then these 3 little holly leaves, I brought out the marker, the Just Soft Succulent marker, and I'm just going to add some little leaf accents to those. Nothing fancy, just sticking them in there. Doesn't have to be perfection. I don't know how well you can see those. They're kind of a long way away from the camera, but that's what I did. Okay, now I am going to just attach those with some glue dots. Get my glue dots here again. And I will just put a glue dot kind of at the base of this on the back. Get it to stick. There we go. And then I'm going to just tuck it in. Like that. And like I say, they may not be exactly the way I did it the first time, but that's okay. And let's see, I'm going to run into the dimensional there, so let's go this way instead. So I can tuck it up underneath there. There we go. That works for me. And one more on this last one. And we'll have it come down in here, and I'm just tucking it under. You could put these on before you put your sentiment on. That's up to you. Let's see, get it to get in there like I want it to. See where my, there we go. So I don't want it to stick out too far. There we go. That'll work. So there's those. Then here are the 3mm pearls. You know, they're typically white. I colored them with the dark Cherry Cobbler Blends pen, because Blends pens dry permanent on non-porous surfaces. And I'm going to add some red dots. I think I colored about 10 of them here. I'm going to put a cluster right here on this grouping of holly. Because what's holly without berries? You just have to have berries on your holly, right? So I'm going to put some there. And then I put one on the sentiment just because I like bling. And then I put some in some various places around on the cards as well. Just like I say, just because I like the coloring. And we'll put one up here. One over here, one down there, and I've got one more. Let's put it here. And so there are my cards, all finished, ready to go. I'll probably take another piece and do my envelope flap, so I have some pretty envelopes. I could show you how I do that. Let me get my paper. There's my paper, and we'll grab a couple of white envelopes here. And I'll show you how I do that. You've probably seen it before if you watch my videos very often, but I never know when somebody new is going to be watching, and I want to make sure they don't, I just don't assume that they know everything that I do. So I put my adhesive on the flap, and I start here like this, and I'll open it up and I'll run it down the sides like that, getting as close to the edge as I possibly can, and then across the flap line here. So that's how I put the adhesive on. And then I'll just take a piece of, it looks like there's enough there. I want this to be the side that I keep, so I'm going to line it up with the edge of the flap, with the seam right there, just like that. I'm going to stick it down, and then I'm just going to turn it over and get my scissors and cut off the excess using the envelope flap as my guide. It works perfect. And it brightens up the envelope, and just makes it look kind of fun and pretty, and so it starts to brighten the life of the person you're giving it to before they ever even get to the card. And so there would be a card with an envelope. Isn't that pretty? So much fun. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you think. I love to see your comments. Talk to you later.